Let's bring in staff writer at The New Yorker, John Cassidy. He was in the courthouse yesterday covering the trial. John, good morning.
Morning.
Your takeaways from yesterday are what? Beyond what was happening inside the courtroom, beyond the circus outside where Donald Trump was yelling at the media?
Well, obviously, I think from Trump's point of view, the main thing was what happened outside. He went down there to turn this into a political circus. And, you know, if you look at the coverage, he pretty much succeeded at that because what he said was so extreme. You know, the media can't ignore it, that he's calling the judge a rogue judge and he's calling the prosecutor a racist right outside, 10 feet from the front door of the court. It's pretty amazing. Inside the court, I would say the most striking thing to me was how aggressive Trump's lawyers were in not so much attacking the judge, but making clear that they're going to challenge every aspect of this trial. Trump's lead attorney, Christopher Kise, who's a former Florida Solicitor General, a very smart lawyer, was basically up on his feet objecting to everything. Their basically argument is that, look, the judge has already decided this trial. He decided Trump was guilty of fraud last week. They're clearly going to appeal at some point. And I think they're basically trying to build the basis for that through this proceeding.
And, John, did I hear correctly yesterday the judge said this trial will last till the week of Christmas?
Yes.
And if so, what's going to take that long?
Well, I mean, there's going to be dozens. If you look at the witness list, there's dozens of witnesses on both sides, including the Trumps and the people who work for them, but also lots of financial experts too. Trump's people will put financial experts up saying, these valuations were reasonable. The government will put up their experts saying they weren't reasonable, and it'll obviously they weren't reasonable, but Trump's people have got, I think, some professors from NYU and elsewhere who are willing to say that, I think it was within the bounds of reason, and valuation's very difficult to decide anyway. That'll be their argument.
So, John, yesterday we saw performance art from the former president, stepping outside, as you just pointed out, 10 feet from the courtroom to malign the judge and everything else that was going on inside the courtroom. What are the odds? How long will he continue to go back to court in person?
Well, that's the great question, right? I mean, last week nobody expected him to turn up. He doesn't have to turn up. It's a civil trial. But after the judge's ruling, he decided to turn up. I don't think he'll be there all the time. I think he might be there today and tomorrow. This week, he's clearly turning into, this is his media strategy for the week, attending his trial. I doubt he'll sit through all the expert witnesses, but he may be called back to testify. And I wouldn't be surprised if he pops in now and again, because this is, as you say, it's like a show for him, I think, and he's running till Christmas. He sees himself as the star. I'm sure he will pop in now and again.
This is his sphere.
Right, exactly. Exactly. I mean, that's what's sort of, I guess, most disturbing about it. Last week, all the stories were this is a big setback for Trump. He's, for the first time, been called a fraudster, basically, by a court, by a judge. And this week, he's turning it into basically a campaign trail appearance for him.
John, he's not only been called a fraudster by a judge, it undermines his whole brand that he did his television show around, that he's built this whole myth that he has to defend. And I want to ask you about something you said, because I think it goes to the core of what I was thinking as someone who's known Trump and fought with him for 30 years. Part of the reason I think he showed up is he really doesn't think anyone can fight and defend him like he can, which is why, as you say, the lawyers were like exercise, because he was sitting there. And I think he feels if he wasn't there, they would not be as exercised, they would not be as energetic. I need to be there to give these guys some guts, and then I'm going in the hallway and do what no one could do for Donald Trump, and that is defend Donald Trump, call people names, because anyone in their right mind would not do this other than a supreme narcissist. I think that's why he had to be there, aside from the political advantage he thinks he's getting with the media coverage.
I think you might well be right, Reverend. As you say, I mean, he's probably right in media terms, right? Nobody can speak out like Trump and attract the attention that Trump attracts. It was also interesting yesterday that he has two lawyers. He has Kise, who's a very experienced lawyer who's argued before the Supreme Court. And he also has Alina Habba, his sort of TV lawyer most of the time. She gave an opening statement which was very Trumpian, in which she said, look, Mar-a-Lago's probably worth $1 billion. So he's got them both. He's got his TV lawyer, and he's got his Supreme Court lawyer, and then he's outside the court himself defending it. So it was a sort of triple whammy.
Staff writer at The New Yorker, John Cassidy, thank you very much for your analysis. We appreciate it. We'll see you soon as